Hey everybody, Chris, the old ass retro gamer here, and welcome to what is this? Recent Pickup 67, everything that I've added to my physical media collection in the way of movies and video games in the month of June 2022. Turn this brightness up here just a bit, so there we go. I apologize for my face. Kind of broke my face the other day. It's getting better, but yeah. Split my nose open on my trunk of my car, brought it down on my face, and bled all over the neighborhood. So there is that. But welcome everybody. I see Nintendo is here, bro. What is happening? So, once again, it's kind of a light month. Trying to save up to go to Mo Game Con at the end of July with Captain Algebra and Do You Nerd and all them. It's going to be awesome. I hope I'm able to find some awesome stuff down there. There's a few things I'm looking for in the retro games, so we'll see how that works out. If the prices are good, bad, passable, like F you in the a-hole kind of stuff, like I saw at the Midwest Gaming Classic this year. But I'm looking for some cool stuff. I hope I find some of it at least. Get to spend my Facebook money there. So, shall we get into it? So, this month is going to be a little more movie than game oriented. So, a lot of this stuff actually showed up over the last 2 days. So, I'm kind of happy about this. So, let's go into it. So, movies, Blu-rays. I've been trying to find this movie for the longest time. It's actually kind of a hard to find Blu-ray. The movie came out, I think, in 2012, maybe 2012, 2013. Didn't get a big release in the theaters, even though it was directed by kind of like a major director. But it also did not get a very big Blu-ray release or home video release. So it's actually kind of hard to come by. And I started thinking about the movie because I saw it back when it was first released on video. Didn't buy a copy of it then. I probably should have. But I started thinking about it, and I actively started looking for it this month. And the only way you can really get it is I think this is a Chinese Blu-ray. I think. Yeah, this is a Chinese Blu-ray. It is region-free, which makes it able to be watched here in the States. But it is a horror movie called The Bay. So if you've never heard of it, it's one of those found footage style movies recounting the events that took place during this one 4th of July celebration in this Maryland coastal town. And the person who's reporting on the events is this journalism student, and she gets an internship at this town, and she's doing a 4th of July report, and then people start barfing up blood. And just weird shit starts happening, and then they start mixing in footage from other people in different parts of the island or the town, I guess. Some people are out in a boat, and we see stuff from their point of view. Some people are just living inland. The one person's just filming with their phone at the hospital, saying what the hell is going on. And it's the local, I can't remember what kind of a company it is. It's a local food company has been dumping industrial waste in the ocean, and it ended up mutating these little parasites that you normally see inside a mouth of a fish. Sometimes it's a parasite that latches onto a fish's tongue. Well, now they're big enough that they can latch onto a human's tongue, and they start eating you from the inside out. And this girl documents the whole thing and the cover-up that came with it. It's really cool. It's really gross and scary at times. So I started thinking about it recently because 4th of July, I was trying to think about horror movies that took place on the 4th of July. There's horror movies based on every other holiday. So I'm oh yeah, the 4th of July one that I remember was The Bay. So try to find it. Found it on Amazon. It was $35 or something, but I think it's pretty awesome. The reason I'm surprised this didn't get a big theatrical or video release is you can see up here, it was directed by Barry Levinson. Directed Diner, Sphere, got a whole bunch of Young Sherlock Holmes. He directed a ton of movies in the 80s and the 90s. Sleepers. I think he's been nominated for at least an Oscar or two. But he decided to do a found footage horror movie, something he had never done before. He did Sphere, which was a sci-fi horror movie, but didn't really work out because of, egos and arrogance and shit. But yeah, it surprised me that he directed this, and then it turned out so well, and nobody saw it. So I needed to have that in my collection, even though it looks kind of like a bootleg, but it really isn't. It's an official pressed Blu-ray and all that. So whatevs. But yeah, it's really gross and really frightening. If you can find it online to watch somewhere, I highly recommend it. It's really cool. Another horror movie, one that I used to watch back in the 90s all the time, came out like in 94-ish, I want to say, out of nowhere. Another movie that didn't get a big release. It had like a low budget, but it is part of a series that's really popular, so why it didn't get a big release kind of freaks me, or kind of weirded me out back in the day, but it's Body Snatchers. This is actually considered the third film in the Body Snatchers series. So you consider the original Invasion of the Body Snatchers from like the 50s or the 60s or whatever. Then there was the remake in the 70s with Donald Sutherland. And then there was this. And then there was just The Invasion, which had Nicole Kidman and Daniel Craig in it, that came out in like the 2000s, which I did not find very good. This one has Gabrielle Anwar in it. She lives on an army base with her dad and her little brother. And the pods start showing up on the army base. And now the creatures are starting to try to infiltrate the military to try to spread the infection across the country. Yeah, Sleepers is a messed up movie, dude. I only saw it the one time. I think I can only watch that movie one time, and that was it. This movie's really short. It's really creepy. Gabrielle Anwar is hot as hell in it. You can see her at the top when she started getting turned into a pod person, and she was sleeping in her tub, and one of them started to infect her, and she woke up like in the middle of it and started ripping all the tendrils off of her and shit. And yeah, it's a freaky movie. It's really effective, I think. This is probably my favorite movie in the Invasion of the Body Snatchers series. But yeah, I didn't realize this was out on Blu-ray. I was just putzing around on Amazon. What was it, Saturday or Sunday? And I saw that they had this, and I was like, yeah, I'll take that. It was like $15. I'm like, sure, give it to me. I haven't seen that in probably 15 years, but I remember liking it. And I found this one at the local, well, it's not local. It's local to my friends. Half Price Books. We went there. We went to go see The Fifth Element on Sunday afternoon. The Fathom Events is playing The Fifth Element. They played it Sunday, and I think they played it yesterday for like a 25th anniversary like a screening thing that they were doing. And before the movie started, we had a little extra time, and we stopped at this Half Price Books by the theater. And I found a copy of Shallow Grave. If you know who Danny Boyle is, the guy who directed Trainspotting, 28 Days Later, Slumdog Millionaire, Sunshine, this was his first movie. Yeah, it was rad. I had the day before I saw another Fathom event where I saw the G.I. Joe animated movie, and they fucked it up. They played it in the wrong aspect ratio, and it looked like a VHS tape, and I was actually like really, really pissed about it. And I was worried that since I was seeing Fifth Element the next day, and my friend had already bought the tickets, that they're going to screw that up too, because I also understand that the previous weekend Fathom had shown John Carpenter's The Thing, and they showed it in the wrong aspect ratio, and it looked like they were showing it off of a DVD. So I was like, okay, what the hell are these guys doing? So when I saw Fifth Element, I was pleased to find out that they played it in the right aspect ratio. It was the 4K version of the movie, and it looked and sounded great, and it was a lot of fun. My friends that I was with hadn't seen it probably since the early 2000s, when I think I showed it to them for the first time. So it'd been nearly 20 years since they last saw it, so it was kind of like them watching it for the first time, which was kind of entertaining, at least for me. But anyway, Shallow Grave, yeah, this is Danny Boyle's first movie that he ever directed. It's also the first movie that I do believe Ewan McGregor was ever in. You can see he's the third name listed on the title. It's about 3 roommates. Well, there's actually, I think, 4. It's been a long time since I've seen this. I haven't seen this since the 90s. It was like there's 4 roommates. One of them ends up dying in the apartment that they all share. And if I remember correctly, he had a lot of money on him or something like that, or he knew where to get money, and the rest of the people are like fighting over who's going to take that money from this guy. Let me see. 3 self-involved Edinburgh roommates played by Carrie Fox. Carrie Fox is the voice of, what is it, December, I think, the new AI that's in Iron Man's helmet in the last couple of Marvel movies that Iron Man was in. Christopher Eccleston, who was in a Marvel movie too. He played the bad guy in Thor 2. And Ewan McGregor in his first starring role, taking a brooding boarder, and when he dies of an overdose, leaving a suitcase full of money, the trio embark on a series of very bad decisions with extraordinarily grim consequences for all. I remember that part of it. But I only saw this once. I rented it from the video store that I worked at, and I watched it, and I remember it being pretty cool. It was just kind of slow. And then I saw Trainspotting like the following year when that came out, and I was like, oh, okay, like, I'm in. Danny Boyle is the man. Ewan McGregor is an awesome actor. And I need to go back and watch this. I just always forget that this one exists. I always watch all of Danny Boyle's later movies. I never watch like this one. So when I saw that they had a Criterion Collection version of it, which comes with a decent amount of extras, if you look, like right here, I'll take it. So I need to watch that probably this weekend, 4th of July weekend. This one is an upgrade. I don't remember if it was in the original film collection live streams that I was doing like 2 years ago or whatever, or if it was something I showed off in a recent pickups video, but I had bought this giant 4-film box set of all the Lethal Weapon films. And it was like this wide. It was like each individual Blu-ray case, and it took up a ton of space on my shelves. And if you know me and the way I collect, shelving space is at a premium in my place. So I was not thrilled that it had to come in this big-ass flipping box because it took up a bunch of space. Go to Target 2 or 3 weeks ago to do some grocery shopping, and I always end up going to the electronics department, which I know I shouldn't do because I always end up buying something I shouldn't be spending money on. And they had the Lethal Weapon 4-film favorites, but it's in a case that is the width of one Blu-ray, and it has all 4 movies in it. And I was like, son of a bitch, why couldn't this have come out when I bought that big-ass box set? Why couldn't they just do this at the beginning? You should. They're fun to talk about. Do it, Joel. Do it. So, yeah, this has Lethal Weapon 1 through 4 in it. I know a lot of people consider the first one to be the best one. I think it's okay. I just think it's a little slower paced than the others. I really like Part 2. I think Part 2 is actually my favorite. Part 3 is kind of cool, even though when I first saw it in the theater back in the day, I did not like it very much, because to me it just felt like a bunch of random scenes thrown together, almost like they only had so many days to work with Danny Glover and so many days to work with Mel Gibson together, and they just kind of threw some shit together real quick. But watching it now doesn't really feel like that anymore. I like it a lot. But Lethal Weapon 4, I think, gets a bad rap. I think Lethal Weapon 4 is pretty cool, especially the fact that they acknowledge the fact that, yeah, this time they are too old for this shit, and you see them doing things that they should not be doing at their age, especially taking on Jet Li at the very end and getting both of their asses whooped, completely. And they had to, be cheap. If the fight scene at the end of Lethal Weapon 4 were from, a Street Fighter game, it would have been Danny Glover and Mel Gibson spamming fireballs the entire time just to keep the guy away. Just to keep Jet Li away. But yeah, I think that one gets a bad rap. I think it's way better than people give it credit for. But I still think Part 2 is my all-time favorite. But yeah, I'm definitely getting rid of that big-ass box set. That shit is sitting over here, getting ready to get thrown into a reseller place somewhere for some money to buy other things I don't need. But yeah, having it as one DVD with, there's no way I wasn't going to pay. And that was $10. That box set I bought was $40. Now we're getting into the one single 3D Blu-ray that I bought this month. I actually bought it last month, and it didn't show up, I think, until the 1st of June, which disqualifies it, from the May pickups. But I went to the Kino Lorber website. They're one of those new boutique, well, they're not really new, but they're new to me, boutique websites like Shout Factory, Scream Factory, or Vinegar Syndrome, or Blue Underground, Arrow Video kind of thing. And a long time ago, I heard that they were trying to get the rights to this 3D movie that I remember seeing in the theater in 3D when I was a little kid, probably back in 1980. What is this? 1982? 1983 when this came out. Jesus, I was 7 or 8. And it just never seemed to come out. I kept on checking the website, and it was never there. And then one day I just said, you know what? I haven't gone to the Kino Lorber website in a while. Let me go and check out something. And it was on the front page. I was like, give it to me. And it was only $15. It's called Treasure of the Four Crowns. Okay, so the thing about this movie is it is a flaming piece of shit. It is horrible in every single way. It is badly made, badly acted, badly shot, badly scored. It is just nothing but like just things being put in your face for no reason at all other than just to do it. But the sad thing about it is the people that made this movie, the director and the main star, Tony Anthony, made a 3D movie the previous year or 2 years before called Coming At You, which I do own also in 3D, which was about crap poking you eye, but they actually tried to make a real movie out of it. It was a Western. It was a 3D Western, and it was really cool. They did really neat things where flashbacks were all in black and white, but one thing in the shot might be in color, like a bandana. Someone's wearing like a red bandana in the shot, but everything else was black and white. It really stood out in the 3D, and explosions were in color, but everything else was black and white kind of thing. It was really cool. So to go and watch that and say that it was one of my favorite 3D Blu-rays that I own, because I did a video on this channel a few years back about, like, I did 2 of them about 3D Blu-rays you should watch through your PSVR, and I do believe it was in the second video that I did that I put Coming At You at like number 1. And it's just sad going and watching that and seeing how fun that movie is and how well made it is, and the 3D is really, really interestingly used. And then they go and do this, which is basically a rip-off of an Indiana Jones movie, and it's just horrible in every way. It's one of those movies that just feels like it was thrown together to cash in on the craze before it faded out. And Tony Anthony plays like this Indiana Jones-ish, like swashbuckly guy. It's Tony Anthony right there. And he's trying to find this crown that has these jewels in it that's being kept by this cult. And it's just stupid shit, like laser beams, like this cult that's like stuck in the Middle Ages, and still acts like they're in the Middle Ages. They have lasers as like actual lasers that will cut things as a security measure in their fortress. It was like, what? And like the movie has like this ending where it's like it's trying to set something up, but doesn't make any sense what it's trying to set up, because there weren't monsters or anything in this movie. It's like an Indiana Jones adventure movie. And then at the very end, they set up this thing with this like monster coming out of a swamp just so we could get one more boo scare of like this tentacle coming out of the monster toward the screen. It makes no sense. But I have not watched this movie since the theater because it wasn't in 3D on home video on VHS. That wasn't possible back in the day. So I kind of wanted to buy this so I could rewatch it in 3D. It'll be like watching it for the first time for me because I haven't seen this since the early 80s. I remembered certain things about it because even as a kid, I was like, boy, that was stupid, And I remember my dad complaining that he paid to see for our whole family, like the 4 of us, to go and see this in the theater. Like he was just mad at himself for like falling for the gimmick. But it's a horrible movie if I remember correctly. It doesn't really have a whole lot of extras, but the fact that I have one more like 3D movie from my youth in my collection, that's pretty cool. Fist of Legend, yeah, I remember seeing that. Black and white aspect of Sin City. Yeah, that's exactly what I said. I was like, Sin City stole it from Coming At You because that movie came out like in 81 or something like that. Let me get a drink. But it was really, it's just weird. Go and watch Coming At You, and you're like, wow, they were trying. The only thing about Coming At You that got me when it comes to 3D is, like I said, they were throwing pretty much anything they possibly could throw at your face in 3D. Coffee beans, red hot pokers, a baby's naked ass. Whatever. And then they make that. I need to watch it again. Maybe it'll be better as an adult. I don't think so. But, we'll see. So now we're going to get into the multitude of 4Ks that I got. I should probably organize these in a better way because there's stories involved. So last month I talked about that I bought the 4K of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein from Arrow Video because of its connection to Bram Stoker's Dracula. And I did not like it at all. I had only seen it the one time when it came out on home video back in the mid-90s. And now I watch it. It's just like, what? This is one of the worst things I've ever seen. So I felt the need to get a copy of Bram Stoker's Dracula on 4K. This just showed up 2 days ago. I got it off of Amazon pretty cheap. And I'm just sad that it didn't come with a slipcase, but whatever. But yeah, one of my favorite Dracula films, probably my favorite Dracula film. I think it is absolutely fantastic. Visually, the acting is great, except from Keanu Reeves. He kind of stinks. The music is absolutely amazing. I mean, everything about it is 99.8% of the movie is amazing. And then there's Keanu Reeves over here going like, I'm trying to do a British accent. But the cool thing about this that I always fascinated as a filmmaker, one of the things that fascinates me about this movie is there was no like blue screeny, special effect type work in here. It's all done in camera. It was like putting layers of film on top of each other to do like weird fades and stuff like that, and like shooting weird light at fog in order to make it look like it's glowing kind of stuff. There was no CGI wasn't really a thing yet. But yeah, like I said, there's no weird photographic effects and no compositing kind of stuff. It's kind of interesting the way it was made, but it's a fantastic movie about Dracula. I absolutely love it. Gary Oldman just rocks the shit out of this movie. I love it. Wanted to have that. So last month, another fave. Yeah, I saw that on a date. I took a girl that I was working at Kmart with when I was in high school to go and see that in the theater. And like the whole movie, she was just like I don't think, honestly, now that I think about it, I don't even think she really wanted to see it. She went because I wanted to go. And she was like, okay, we'll go see it. You want to see it? Well, it'll be fine. And when it was over, she was like, that was so good. And then we went and saw The Distinguished Gentleman, and we broke up not too long after. Anyway, last month, the same thing that happens with that Lethal Weapon set happened again. So last month, I bought this gigantic Jason Bourne box set in 4K that I found at Best Buy. Normally it was going for like $70 or $80 or something like that. And when I went to the Best Buy last month, looking for Batman, I ended up finding they had discounted it to like $25. And I was like, wow, that's a pretty deep discount. Gotta grab it. So I bought it. Turns out the reason they were discounting it was they were trying to get rid of all the big box sets because they released a thinner version of it, which is the size of, it's just slightly wider than your average Blu-ray case. So, like, I bought it, I fell for it, I bought it, and then, like, all of a sudden I see this pop up in my, things you might like on my Amazon page. While I was at work, I was, like, surfing Amazon. I was like, hey, people that bought this thing also bought this. And I was like, of course that comes out after I buy the big-ass box set. I was pissed. So luckily, I hadn't opened that box set yet, so I took it back to Best Buy and returned it for something else. I exchanged it for something else, and that's what you're going to see next. But I did buy this off of Amazon. This was like $40, so yeah, it was like $15 more expensive than the fat one, but I was willing to pay $15 extra just so I can save some space on my shelf. So this has Bourne Identity, Bourne Supremacy, Bourne Ultimatum, Bourne Legacy, which is the one without Jason Bourne in it. It's the one with Hawkeye in it. And then Jason Bourne, which is the final movie, which I was not very big on. I only really like Bourne. I like the first one. I like Bourne. Oh, Jesus Christ. The Bourne Identity. I like the Bourne Identity. I like the Bourne Ultimatum. And I like the Bourne Legacy, the one without Jason Bourne in it. I'm not really big on Supremacy or Jason Bourne. So 3 out of 5, worth it. But I mean, like, these are just fun, breezy action movies that are a little too overly complicated for their own good sometimes. And they do get a little Saw-esque with the way that they like retread ground from the movie that came before it and like make you look at it in a different light in the following movie. Like, oh, this is what was really happening in that scene. Oh, kind of stuff. But yeah, they're okay. I never thought that Matt Damon would be able to play an action hero after seeing him in like, what was that army movie he was in with Meg Ryan? Courage Under Fire, or Good Will Hunting, stuff like that. What's up, Cap? How's it going? But I think it turned out pretty well. And I had read the original novel, the first book, The Bourne Identity, before I saw the movie. And the movie, it's like the first 30 minutes of the movie is exactly the same as the book, and then it goes completely in a different direction. But I'm not one of those people that's like, oh, it didn't follow the book, I don't like it, it's bullshit. No. The book was deeply rooted in stuff that was actually going on in the 70s. It actually used a real assassin as the villain that was known to exist in the 70s. So to actually cut all that stuff out for a movie that came out in like the early 2000s made perfect sense. So I was not mad about it. So the movie that I exchanged for that big ass box set of the Bourne movies, I exchanged it for Alligator on 4K. I have only seen this movie at this point in time twice. First time I ever saw it was at the Music Box of Horrors, which is a 24-hour horror movie marathon that a local theater does every year for Halloween. And the last time they did it, which I do believe was in 2019. Well, no, they did one this past year, but I didn't get to go. The last one I went to was in 2019. Oh, the transfer. Yeah, that shit took forever, dude. Trust me. Oh, my God. But it's worth it because the upgrade looks fantastic on the PS5. I watched this. They played this at like 1 a.m, I think, for the film festival. And Jeremiah, my co-host for the movie starting podcast, this is one of his favorite movies because there's a scene in here when it's about like that whole myth of like, if you throw an alligator or if you flush one down the toilet, you're going to have a giant alligator roaming around the sewers. Well, that's what happened in this movie. A guy threw his daughter's pet alligator down the toilet, and it grew into a giant alligator that starts like stalking. I think it was supposed to be Chicago. It starts stalking the city at night. And once it finally like breaks out of the sewers and starts roaming the city, there's a scene where like these kids, it's like a birthday party of kids, and one kid is getting picked on by the rest. And they take him out to the pool, and they're like, "Make him walk the plank, make him walk the plank." And they take him to the end of the diving board at the pool. And just as they toss the kid out, he happens to look down to see that the alligator's in the pool with its mouth open, looking right at him. And he goes, "No!" And they throw him right into the mouth of the alligator, and the kid gets eaten. Jeremiah uses that I guess he used that scene in a movie to make his nephew behave or something like that. I guess his nephew was being like a butthead at some party, and Jeremiah goes, "Hey, calm the hell down, or this is going to happen to you." And he showed him that scene, and the kid was like, "Okay." I hope it comes back and gets the dad. It's written by the same guy who wrote The Empire Strikes Back, if you can believe it. John Sayles wrote this, and it's fantastic. It's actually really funny. It's kind of like a satire of like these kind of movies. It was kind of making fun of Jaws a little bit. But we watched it for the podcast, the movie starting podcast this past season. I released the episode maybe like a month and a half ago, maybe 2 months ago. And we watched this 4K version, not mine, but my friend Jason, who wanted to watch the movie with us. He wanted to watch it with us because he had just gotten it. And it looks fantastic in 4K. The movie's still very entertaining. It stars Robert Forster, who was like kind of big in the 70s, and then he petered off and then came back with Jackie Brown in the 90s, thanks to Quentin Tarantino, and then kind of petered off again. But the thing is like at this point in time, Robert Forster was starting to lose his hair, and the whole movie is filled with people making fun of the fact that he's going bald. It's weird. It's like ad libs. It's like the director told everybody, like, "Hey, if you think there's a moment where you can work in a hair loss joke toward Robert Forster, do it." Kind of shit. It's really fun, and I'm really glad that it got a 4K transfer. It really needed it especially because I saw a film print at that Music Box of Horrors thing, and it looked horrible. The whole print was orange. Like the whole movie just was orange everywhere. It was horrible. So it needed the restoration. I think I said horrible way too many times in that last sentence. I got another one from Scream Factory, where Alligator came from. They released a 4K of John Carpenter's Escape from New York. I will flip for anything John Carpenter. John Carpenter is my dude. I love pretty much every single movie that he has made. I mean, there's maybe one or two where I'm kind of like, but for the most part, his resume is like nothing but fire. This is one of my all-time favorites. I absolutely love it. It's an action movie, but it's actually like a Western trying to be a science fiction movie. It's a science fiction movie trying to be a Western. How about that? So it's like in the future, New York has been cordoned off, I think it's like the city of Manhattan has been like cordoned off with a fence, and any criminals that are deemed in like not able to be able to like work, like you can't keep them in society. They will fuck shit up. You throw them into this prison in New York, and it's like fend for yourself kind of situation. The president actually accidentally crashes in New York, and the government goes for this guy, Snake Plissken, that Kurt Russell plays, who's an ex-mercenary, and hires him to go in and get the president out. It's really cool. Yeah, there's two. If you've ever seen, what's that one with Amber Heard? Well, it's got Amber Heard in it, so you know it's going to be shitty. He did one with Amber Heard. It was like the last movie he directed. I can't remember the name of it, but it was pretty bad. And Dark Star, his first movie, is not the greatest. I think he made that when he was still in film school. It's not great. It's like, the alien in the movie that's trying to kill people is a beach ball with feet. Amber Turd, yep. No, I can't remember the name of that movie. She's in a mental institution. It's completely unwatchable. That's like the worst movie he's ever done. But even the ones that nobody likes, like what's it called? Memoirs of an Invisible Man. I am not a Chevy Chase fan, but even John Carpenter made that movie pretty entertaining. So yeah, the fact that this is available in 4K, now we just need Escape from LA in 4K and I'll be happy. But the fact that we got that is fantastic. Halloween's been released in 4K, but I'm going to wait until they release like a box set of all of them in 4K before I buy those again. Kiddo loves them beach balls, brah. What's up, Peter? I have They Live. I have Prince of Darkness. This, and I think one more. I might be wrong. I know there's one of The Thing out there, but I'm not 100% on if I want to get that one or not. This just showed up yesterday. I was talking about Body Snatchers earlier, the third film in the series. Well, I also ended up picking up the second movie in the series, The Invasion of the Body Snatchers from the 70s. This one's got a pretty cool cast. It's Donald Sutherland, Brooke Adams, Leonard Nimoy, frickin' Spock's in it, Jeff Goldblum. Well, Veronica Cartwright from Alien. Yeah, this one was made in the 70s by Philip Kaufman. It's a PG-rated movie, but nowadays I think this would be rated R. Like, it's like just teetering on that too much for a PG rating. So like when the pods start taking you over, the person who is being replaced like falls apart, and they show it happen to one specific person, and it is grotesque and gross and scary looking. And then like Donald Sutherland falls asleep on his patio at one point in the movie, and a replacement for him starts to form like at his feet, and he wakes up about halfway through it and sees it laying there, and he picks up a garden hoe and like hits it right in the face, and you see its face collapse and blood and shit flies everywhere. And I'm like, this movie's PG? Okay. What is that, Peter? Captain Algebra Defender of the Math in the chat. Oh, there he is. So yeah, I got this. This is also a Kino Lorber release. You can tell because they all have these plain spines. But I got this actually off of what was it? Amazon? Was it Amazon? Yeah, Amazon for like $11. So I wasn't gonna pass that up. I wish it had the slipcase, but whatever. When I bought that Lethal Weapon set, I also picked this up. I did not know that this was coming out, but they released a 4K edition of The Untouchables from the 80s. Kevin Costner. It was Kevin Costner's first big starring role. Sean Connery received an Oscar win for this, for Best Supporting Actor. All about Prohibition and Al Capone and Elliot Ness going after Al Capone, who's smuggling alcohol and stuff like that. It's pretty fantastic. It has a great score. I think one of Brian De Palma's best movies. I mean, I like a few Brian De Palma movies, like when he was ripping off the Hitchcock movies, like Body Double and Dressed to Kill and stuff like that. But like when he decided to make something like more mainstream, he made it extremely well. It's like this is like the best like real movie he made. But you got Kevin Costner as Elliot Ness. You got what's his name? Robert De Niro as Al Capone. It's fantastic. I absolutely love it. I had to have that. That was like a blind buy. I was just like, oh, I saw it sitting there. Yes. Horror movie marathon. I will bring them, bro. I will bring them. Someone bring a PS5 to play some 4K, bitches. We watching that shit. This one I found out about yesterday, and I bought it yesterday. So I was at work on my lunch break, and I was watching another YouTube channel called Films at Home. It's like my new favorite like movie, home video YouTube channel. The guy tells you about new releases, reviews them. He's big into 4K like me. And he did a review of this movie, and I was like, when did this happen? And I kind of was like, oh, and he was talking about like, the presentation and how it's a huge step up from the Blu-ray, which I do have. I need to get rid of it now. It was a complete remaster. It looks fantastic. The sound mix was made better and all that. And on top of everything, it has this really kind of cool artwork on the cover. I don't know. Do we know anyone with a PS5? I say we get 8-bit glitch to bring that Nintendo of his with him. But I'm talking about Universal Soldier. Yeah, that movie where Van Damme and Dolph Lundgren are undead soldiers. Roland Emmerich it's the first big mainstream movie that Roland Emmerich made, the guy who did Independence Day and Stargate and that crappy Godzilla movie with Matthew Broderick and Moonfall. This is the movie that put him on the map. And it's really fantastic. And the thing that I wanted it for the most was kind of cool. I'm going to do an unboxing here, guys, just so you can see. It's a steel book. Open up. God damn it. There we go. So it's a steel book, and it has like this kind of plastic slip cover on it. And the thing is, it looks kind of cheap looking right now, right? It kind of has this weird, like, why is there an outline around their heads? It doesn't look right. Well, it's because if you take the slip off, it's really underneath a picture of the characters before they died when they were in Vietnam. And then when you put the slip cover back on, their faces align with the holes in the cover, and they are the Unisols, the undead soldiers. I thought that was pretty neat the way they did that. But yeah, 2 soldiers in Vietnam, Van Damme and Dolph Lundgren, get into like a fight. Dolph Lundgren had lost his mind, and Van Damme's trying to stop him from killing a bunch of innocent villagers, and they end up shooting each other. But their bodies get shipped back to the U.S. and used in this experimental program to create soldiers that can't be killed. They're called Unisols. They're basically like undead soldiers. They're prone to overheating, so they have to be kept in like a chill box or something like that, like a huge air-conditioned room, and their minds are wiped every time they get used. It's pretty awesome. And then like what Van Damme ends up like starting to remember things and goes off the rails, and they send Dolph Lundgren after him, and Dolph Lundgren starts to remember things and starts acting like he did when he was in Vietnam when he lost his mind. It's a really cool movie. I really enjoyed it. They made a bunch of sequels to this that don't need to exist, but I had to have this because this is probably one of my favorite Van Damme movies and probably one of my favorite Roland Emmerich movies. So I had to have that. And like I said, I saw him review it yesterday on YouTube, went to the Best Buy website because he said that was a Best Buy exclusive cover with that artwork. So I went on the Best Buy website, ordered a copy, picked it up when I got off of work, and yeah. And the last movie I have to talk about is another one of those Arrow Video limited edition sets that I picked up. They keep on picking the strangest movies to give 4K transfers to. It's like Dune and Tremors and stuff like that. It's like, B movies, things that, people like, but, they're not huge. They did one of those for True Romance. This is a movie written by Quentin Tarantino, directed by Tony Scott, who directed Crimson Tide, Top Gun, Beverly Hills Cop 2. I'm trying to think what else he did. Deja Vu. Tony Scott made it. You've probably seen 5 Tony Scott movies and don't even realize it. The Hunger, I think that was his first movie. Christian Slater and Patricia Arquette are like, they meet, fall in love, and like get married in the same night. And then he needs to deal with her pimp, who's Gary Oldman in like a dreadlock wig and gold and silver teeth. And they steal a bunch of money from him and go on the run. No, they steal a bunch of cocaine from him and go on the run trying to sell it. And all the crime people are trailing after them. And it's a really good movie. I really, really like it. We'll do another unboxing here because the thing about these limited editions is they come with a lot of extra stuff. Hang on a second here. I don't have a knife handy, so I'm going to use this pen. There we go. Yeah, I saw this in the theater opening night. The only reason I wanted to see it was because it was a Tony Scott movie, and I was a big Tony Scott fan. Street Fighter's the greatest Van Damme movie. You can stick that up your butt. So I can take this off. I don't need it anymore. But number one, the best thing about it is it has the theatrical cut and the director's cut both in 4K. And then all this stuff right here is nothing but extras. There's a bunch of new stuff, a bunch of stuff carried over from other releases and stuff. So that's pretty cool. But like, the box set, the limited edition comes in this big oversized box. You got the movie here. You got one, which is the director's cut disc. Oh, that's it. They're both on the same disc then? Okay, then. And it also comes with all these like lobby cards. The Boxer's Omen. I guess that's an advertisement for an upcoming box that they're doing. But like, Got this. Patricia Arquette is fucking hot as hell in this movie. I think I showed that one already. Dennis Hopper plays Christian Slater's dad. Dennis Hopper has a fantastic scene with Christopher Walken in this movie in his trailer when the mob comes looking for the drugs, and Christopher Walken is like a mob enforcer who like interrogates and like tortures Dennis Hopper, and the conversation they have is just like, what? It comes with a gigantic book. It's all about like there's Gary Oldman as that drug dealer guy. Dennis Hopper. Yeah, it's like stories about the making of the movie and all that. Yeah, that's pretty cool. And it also comes with a poster. Not really digging this artwork that's on the box itself. I do believe that I can reverse the artwork on here. But the thing about the poster that comes with it, I'm not going to hang this up, but you get that artwork, which I'm not really fond on, and you get the original theatrical artwork over here, which is way better. Yeah, Val Kilmer's in it. He plays Elvis because Christian Slater's character is a little crazy, and he like has conversations with Elvis, who like tells him, "Oh, you're doing this thing wrong, man. You know, you got to go talk to that girl over there and get her to like you," kind of stuff. Hey, you know, we still that drugs, man. Get some money, get out of here, man. So absolutely had to have that. Upgraded my regular old Blu-ray to this. Can't wait to watch that. I'm probably going to watch that this weekend. And that's it for the movies. Get rid of these packages, plastic wrap. Okay, so now we're on to the video games. Not a lot of retro stuff this month. I know I tagged nothing but retro stuff in the post on Instagram talking about this stream, but it's mostly modern day, except for maybe one thing. So I was on Target's website looking for one specific game, which I did get. And it turns out the person who was selling this one game I was looking for has like a store on Amazon or through Target. And he has a lot of like older games. He has like Game Boy Advance games that are still in the package, like are still sealed, that are pretty cheap. He had Nintendo DS games and 3DS games, and like it was just stuff from all over. It was PS2 games that were still sealed. And I was like, God damn. So I actually looked through like the entire list of things this guy was selling on top of the one game I wanted. And I found one thing that I was like, I've always wanted that game, and I've never actually seen it in person. I had it in my Amazon wish list for the longest time. I think ever since I started collecting back in 2013. I've had it in my wish list, and I just never pulled the trigger on it. So I picked up a copy of Honeycomb Beat on the Nintendo DS. It's a puzzle game that also, it's about like, you know, the shapes that you have to organize and place together are shaped like honeycombs. Yes, like the little six-sided shape. But it's also rhythm-based. So, why does the font have to be so damn small? I'll join you in your stream after I'm done, bruh. I'll talk to you later. Honeycomb Beat puts your brain power to this test with a cool fusion of music and addictive puzzle action. Solve puzzles by clicking on honeycomb tiles and match their color to the playfield. Sounds easy. Multiple puzzles increase the challenge and fun for even the smartest of players. Whatever. I can barely read that. Also, because my light up here is not that bright, so it's kind of like reading in the dark. It looks bright on screen, but it's in actuality, it's not. It's actually kind of dark right now. So, yeah, I've been wanting this for a while. Finally picked it up. This past weekend, I did a new episode of the Super Enabler Brothers show with Jason of Corpse Flood Gaming. We had Tiger Chainsaw on as our guest, and we were talking about like games that we've been playing, beating, you know, whatever. And Tiger Chainsaw has talked about this game, and I've had this in my wish list on Amazon for a while too. I just never pulled the trigger on it. And he was like, dude, you really should, because it's not the longest of games, but it's a super awesome like side-scrolling beat 'em up kind of game, or hack and slash. And it has like metal music that would be like that's right out of like Slain. And I was like, that sounds pretty awesome. And then I found this on Amazon for $15, or it was on Amazon for $15, so I bought a copy of Valfaris. And yeah, it's like a side-scrolling Contra-esque Castlevania style game. I can't really tell from the pictures because they're kind of dark, but I mean, everybody that I know that has played this has said that it's kind of awesome. I posted my weekly pictures of the games that I've bought. Actually, it's probably like end of month picture, the one that I did last which had this in it. And like, people were always saying like, "Oh my God, Val Ferris is such a great game." Yeah, Tiger Chainsaw was a good guy. Yeah, he was fun to talk to for the show. Yeah, I need to play through this. I'm probably gonna boot this up this weekend. I've started a new game. I beat Halo Infinite a couple weeks ago. I'm playing Chorus right now on my PS5. And once I beat that, I'm probably going to play through this because, like I said, I hear it's not the longest game, so I'm going to try that out. But I was super stoked to finally get that off my list. The game I was really looking for when I bought Honeycomb Beat was the Pocky and Rocky Reshrined. And so I've never played a Pocky and Rocky game. I've played the ones that are like it. I've played, what is it, Heavenly Guardian or Heavenly Guardian, I think it's called, on the PS2. I think it's also available on the Wii. But it's like a shmup, but you're walking around on the ground, and it's available for the Super Nintendo. And part 1 and 2 are super expensive. So what I was thinking when I see it's called Pocky and Rocky Reshrined is, oh, it's a remaster of like the first game. So I was like, cool, I'll get that. Kind of eliminates the need to get the Super Nintendo game and pay $1,500 for a copy of it. So no, I find out that this is actually like the third game in the series. For some reason, they just did not want to call it Pocky and Rocky 3, so they called it Reshrined. Way to be confusing, guys. So I guess I'm starting off by playing part 3. But like I said, it's a top-down, vertically scrolling shmup, but you're walking around, and you get power-ups to like get spread shots and more powerful guns. You don't really shoot guns. I think you throw cards or something. But yeah, and it's a multiplayer game, too. You can either play as Pocky, which is the girl, and Rocky, who is the raccoon, and then you can unlock more characters as you play. I think it says there's an extra 3. Yeah, 1 of 3 new characters that they've added in. So there's that. It's cool. We'll see you at Mo GameCon, TJ. Castle of Shikigami. Yeah, that's kind of like that too. Another one that I picked up earlier in the week, I started seeing it trending all over the place, and I was like, I know when it was first announced, I was like, I think I need to buy that because of what comes with it. But then all of a sudden, everybody started talking about it online, and I was like, oh yeah, now's probably the time to get it. So I picked up a copy of the Capcom Fighting Collection. I'm a huge fan of Darkstalkers. It's like Street Fighter with horror characters. I'm all over that shit. This has Darkstalkers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, Ultra Super Street Fighter 2. Oh god, I can't even read it. It's so dark in here because of this light. But it has how many games? 10 games in it, and one of them I understand has never been released on a home console before. I can't remember the name of it, but yeah, 10 classic titles. I can't wait to dive into this and start playing some old school fighting games. Knock a bunch of those off my list. Hells to the yeah. I also pre-ordered the Turtles collection, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles video game collection that has like every home video or home console version of a Turtles game. I think the arcade games are on it. I mean, can't wait for that to come out. And then I also got some limited run stuff in the mail. Ordered this long time ago, and it finally showed up. I ordered a copy of Quake on the PS4. Super huge into Quake back in the day. It was one of the few PC games I ever really played, other than like Doom and Blood. So I'm huge into first-person shooters. I still am, but to get like an updated, widescreened, like remastered version of it on the PS4, hells to the yes. Developed by id, it was like, how Doom was all pixels. This one was all polygons. It was like the first big polygon first-person shooter that id had ever done. So yeah, really thrilled to get it on physical media. I do believe this has been available for quite a while digitally, but you know me, digital can eat my ass. And the other one that I got from them in the mail at the same time as that is Blood Rain Betrayal Fresh Bites. So this is one of the few digital games I ever purchased when like my PS3 first came out. So I thought this was supposed to be it's the third Blood Rain game, but it doesn't play like any of the other Blood Rain games. The first 2 Blood Rain games were 3D, third-person, beat-em-ups. You play as this vampire girl. You start running low on health. You can jump on an enemy and suck their blood out to regain some health. You can slow down time and do like Matrix-style attacks. The first two games were kind of amazing. And I was like, oh, sweet. They made one specifically for digital, for the new consoles. That ought to be awesome to see what a new generation Blood Rain game is. No, it looks like a Flash game, and it's like a side-scrolling beat-em-up. I was not happy. But it's still Blood Rain, and I love me some Blood Rain. So when I saw that they were finally giving it a physical release, even though it's almost 2 generations past its prime, I was really, really thrilled about it. And it's developed by Way Forward, which is kind of strange that I actually kind of not like a Way Forward game for a change. It's weird. It's a rare thing when I'm eh. But then again, I think it was mostly the disappointment of it not being a 3D Blood Rain game that really tainted my thoughts on the game when it first came out. So playing it nowadays, I'd probably be okay with it. So can't wait to dive into that. I also got the 2 Blood Rain remastered games from Limited Run, so that's going to go on the shelf right next to them. And I got the trilogy. Now they need to make a new one, goddammit. I got another game that I forgot that I had ordered from Strictly Limited in the mail, and that is this Cotton Saturn Tribute set. So it comes with Cotton 2, Cotton Boomerang, and Guardian Force. So it's remastered versions of the Saturn games, I guess. I honestly do not remember ordering this. I do not. I remember ordering a Cotton game, and then I got the one for the Switch, which was Cotton 100% Perfect or something like that. I can't remember exactly what it was. But I thought that was it. And then when this showed up, I was like, I ordered that? And then I went back and I looked on the website, and sure enough, I did. I just don't remember doing it. I sold the OG Xbox versions I had after Limited Run announced the remasters. Yeah. I might do that too, just to save some space on the shelf, because now, why play the old ones when you can play the new ones? The new version. Sure. So yeah, these are side-scrolling shmups, horizontally side-scrolling shmups, I guess. I have that one Cotton set, and I have not played it yet for the Switch. There's this, and I have one for the Genesis here. It's a reproduction of a Japanese Mega Drive game, but in that one, you're flying into the screen like in Star Fox. That's why I wanted it. That's something you don't see on the Genesis ever. So I guess I'm getting a little Cotton collection going, even though it's a really popular Japanese series. We never really had any of them over here. And now we're into the PS5. Only 2 new games for the PS5. I've been trying not to buy too many games for the PS5 because I don't want to get into the situation I'm in right now with my PS4 where I have 500 PS4 games and I've probably played 30 of them. So I'm trying to keep my collection for the PS5 for the time being pretty small so I can actually play through them and try to knock them off the list so I can add more to the collection that I'm actually going to play. So I bought a copy of, oh God, I don't remember the name of this thing. It's written so small. Record of Lodoss War, Deedlit in Wonder Labyrinth. It's a Metroidvania game in the Record of Lodoss War franchise. Church, the Game Grinder, talked about this to me and Jason from Corpse Blood Gaming at length about how much he liked it. I have the Record of Lodoss War game for the Dreamcast, and that's pretty cool. But when I heard that there was one that was a Metroidvania, and I love me a good Metroidvania, I was like, hells to the yeah. And from what I understand, when Church played it, it was digital only, and I think he got it off of Steam, and he played it on his PC. But then I just randomly found this on YouTube, on eBay, and I was like, oh, I got a physical release and on the PS5, hell to the yeah. So definitely, I picked it up. It was $30, so it's not really an expensive game by any means. And from what I understand, it's not the longest Metroidvania either. The way Church described it to me is it's kind of comparable to the Mummy Remastered or the Mummy Demastered, which I really enjoyed. I played that back in December. So I was super thrilled to have a Metroidvania for my PS5 now. So, hey, yeah. And then was it 2 weeks ago, Church and Jason and I did we didn't do anything online. We were just, I mean, we didn't broadcast it. We used StreamYard to just have like an online hangout together so we can all just sit around and talk and bullshit. And while we were doing it, we started talking about the PS5. And I was like, I'm going to go and check out some of these other websites and see if, anything's on sale, for the PS5. And I went to the Best Buy website, and this had been discounted by about 60%. And I was like, oh, now's the time to buy it. I've wanted it for a while. And now it's the price for me. So I bought a copy of Ghostwire Tokyo. It's a first-person shooter, science fiction, cyberpunky thing where, and it also has like magic in it, from what I understand. It's like a first-person shooter, but you can like shoot fireballs from your hands and stuff, from what I understand. And it looked kind of cool. Like, I love cyberpunk, so I had to get it. And the cool thing is, Best Buy usually gets these things you get them when you buy them through Best Buy. But you get like a free steelbook to put the game in if you really want to, like a collectible steelbook. I got one when I bought Cyberpunk 2077 through them. And another game I have in the other room. I can't remember what it was. I think it was... Oh, shit. It was that Planescape Torment spiritual successor game. It came with a steelbook also. But yeah, for $25, I was like, I'm not going to pass that up because I've been wanting to play this. It looked kind of cool. I think it's made by the people who made Evil Within. Because the moment I brought it up, Church was like, oh, Evil Within. I was like, never actually played Evil Within, so I can't really comment. But I don't care if they made a game that is considered to be kind of poopy. Maybe this one is pretty rad. So, yeah. So, like Bioshock? Yeah, I guess. But it's like... takes place in Tokyo. I don't know. I've never actually played Bioshock, so I really can't compare. But it looked kind of cool. I like what I saw when they were doing like those PlayStation... What do they call them? The State of Play. And they showed some footage of it. I was like, oh, kind of neat. So, that's it. 32 hours if I do everything in Record of Lodoss War. Hell yeah. So, yeah, I'm definitely playing that after I play through Valfaris. I'm playing Record of Lodoss War. And then I think I'm going to play... What is it? Werewolf? The Werewolf game I bought for the PS5. And then I'm probably going to play Ghostwire Tokyo. Oh, I still have to play Ratchet and Clank. Shit. See, this is the thing. I have too many games now, and I can't keep up. Shit. So that's it. That's all I have today to talk about. It's a pretty decent live stream, almost an hour long for not a lot of stuff. I can talk on and on about shit if you give me the chance. I will talk your ear off. So thanks for coming, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the live stream. If there's anything you think I need to be picking up and adding to my collection, feel free to leave it in the comments below. Let me know. And I'll do my best to try to pick it up. But I cannot wait for Mo GameCon at the end of July. I really need to go out and just hang out with people and not have to worry about work for a little while. And to just talk games. I never get to talk games. The only time I ever get to talk games is if I'm hanging out with Jason or talking to church or anything like that. But outside of that, I never get to talk games with people, which is kind of disappointing. So I can't wait to actually hang out with a bunch of people I enjoy being around when it comes to that. So it'll be awesome to hang out with everybody. Tell me more about Rad. No, I will not. Sorry. But butt sliding. Yeah, Mo GameCom. Can't wait. We need to start that improv group, bruh. It needs to happen. So yeah, I will talk to you all later. I will be back at the end of July, hopefully with a Mo GameCon stream. Talking about everything I picked up. There's still some stuff that's coming in the mail, so I will have pickups outside of the convention because there's stuff that just hasn't shown up yet. But for the most part, it's probably going to be all Mo GameCon. Mo GameCon. I keep on saying GameCom like it's the Tiger GameCom instead of GameCon. Stupid mouth. So yeah, I will talk to you all later. If you're at Mo GameCon and you see me or any of the other group, you got Peter, you got TJ, you got Gaming Off the Grid, Captain Algebra, Do You Nerd, 8-Bit Glitch, all of them. Hang out, talk to us, give us a shout out. Go come and say hi. So I'll talk to you all later. Have a good evening. Chris, the old ass retro gamer, out.